was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. When you go to bed at night, you lay there and you take responsibility for yourself, because nobody's going to take responsibility for you. But I'm not a victim. I grow from it and I learn. Take responsibility for yourself.
Hey friend, welcome to my channel karinealourde, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars in history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. Now let's get into this video. There are two narratives and two sides of Tyra Banks. The first tells the tale of an unlikely model who becomes a fairy godmother to aspiring models, and the second tells of a villain who poses as a Victoria's Secret angel in order to oppress those same aspiring models she's supposed to help. Did we judge her too soon though? American TV host, model, producer, writer, and actress Tyra Lynn Banks began her career as a model at the young age of 15. She made history as the first African American woman to appear on the covers of GQ and the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. From 1997 and 2005, she modeled lingerie for Victoria's Secret. The early 2000s saw Banks as one of the highest paid models in the industry. Banks made her acting debut in the 1993 drama film Higher Learning and her television acting debut in the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She landed prominent roles in films like Coyote Ugly and Disney's Life Size in 2000, which was my favorite movie in that era. Banks has appeared in a handful of films and TV shows, including Love and Basketball, Halloween Resurrection, Gossip Girl, and Glee. America's Next Top Model premiered on the network in 2003, and Banks served as executive producer and host for the first 22 seasons before the show was canceled in October 2015, but that show had all the girls in a chokehold. The Tyra Banks Show, hosted by Banks herself, aired on the CW and was nominated for 2 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Talk Show. Banks also co-created the reality show True Beauty. During the show's 12th season in 2017, Banks presided as host. She hosted the 29th season of Dancing with the Stars and served as an executive producer for the show in 2020. Based on her experiences as a model, Banks wrote a young adult novel in 2010 titled Model Land, which debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list the following year. Her own production company, Bankable Productions, is responsible for such hits as America's Next Top Model and The Tyra Banks Show. Time magazine has listed Banks as one of the 100 most influential people in the world multiple times, making her one of only 4 African Americans and 7 women to do so. Her hobbies include painting and dancing. Tyra doesn't really do diets, and she is an advocate for body positivity, but she does love her some tacos, and it is one of her favorite foods. As far as her beauty secret, this is what she had to say. A lot of people have told me that I look younger than I am. I really think it's because I started exfoliating at birth. I do it every night because I love that deep, clean feeling. When it comes to hair, Tyra stated, "I don't look at hair as hair. I look at it as an accessory, like a hat that you put on and take off. So I've been wearing a lot of wigs." Now let's get into her childhood. Now, she was born on December 4th, 1973 in the city of Inglewood, California. Tyra was born into a pretty privileged background. She was raised by a medical photographer mom, Carol London, and a tech guru dad, Donald Banks. Devin, her older brother, is only 5 years her senior. Banks' parents split up when she was 6 years old in 1979, but she said she didn't feel no ways about it because for her it means double the love and double the presents, especially during Christmas. Banks went to John Burroughs Middle School and Immaculate Heart High School, both in Los Angeles, where she graduated in 1991. Banks has said that as a child she was called an ugly duckling because of the way people made fun of her appearance. The model, Tyra Banks, reveals she was bullied in school because she was so thin. She said, "When I was 11 years old, I grew 3 inches and lost 30 pounds in 3 months. So I went from being a mean bully, cute little chubby little girl to shooting up, weighing 98 pounds and just looking sick and frail," end quote. Tyra was pretty cruel to people despite her cheerful, cheery image on the magazines when she was a teen. In middle school, do you recall those nasty girls who used to pick on you and spread rumors about you? You couldn't stand those groups of popular girls that all clicked up together. Unfortunately, Tyra Banks was one of them, and she was actually the leader of the group. Tyra even devised a method for voting off members of her group she didn't like anymore. So when she later became the victim of bullying herself, and she now has her regrets. She believes that bullying is a result of people feeling bad about themselves and deriving power from targeting vulnerable people. Tyra said she has had to end friendships because of the negative influence some people brought to her life. Banks began her modeling career at age 15 while still a high school student in Los Angeles. After being turned down by 4 other modeling agencies, she finally got signed by LA Models when she was 16. She made the switch to elite model management. She relocated to Milan after being offered a modeling contract in Europe. She was able to book 25 shows during her debut runway season at the 1991 Paris Fashion Week. Banks has been featured in editorials for numerous publications, including Vogue, Vogue Italy, Vogue France, Elle France, Elle Germany, Harper's Bazaar, Harper's Bazaar Germany, Harper's Bazaar Malaysia. She was featured on the covers of numerous fashion publications, including Spanish Vogue, Cosmopolitan, 17, and Teen Vogue. Among the designers whose runway shows she walked in were Chanel, Oscar de la Renta, Yves Saint Laurent, Anna Sui, Christian Dior, Donna Karan, Calvin Klein, Perry Ellis, Marc Jacobs, Givenchy, Hervé Leger, Valentino, Fendi, Isaac Mizrahi, Giorgio Armani, Michael Kors, and more. She has been featured in campaigns for brands such as Yves Saint Laurent, Dolce & Gabbana, Scotta, Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Halston, H&M, XOXO, Swatch, Versace, Christian Lacroix, Victoria's Secret, Got Milk, Pepsi, and Nike. So she has lived, okay? She has lived. Now, as far as her personal life, in the 2010s, Banks dated Norwegian photographer Erik Asla, and in January of 2016, the couple welcomed a son into the world via surrogate. Now, let's get into the America's Next Top Model scandal. Let's talk about how the models were reportedly paid only $40 a day, while Tyra Banks scored a huge paychecks, and they even had to pay for food allegedly out of their own pockets. Several white contestants in Cycle 4, which aired in 2005, posed as black women while wearing blackface, which was makeup that was much darker than their natural skin tones.
To be made up as a white woman, it's a little mind-blowing. It just goes to show you're ultimately defined by who you are, not by this outside.
Christina, regal, not cold. We are actually going to switch your ethnicities.
I'm half black, so being transformed into a proud African woman for me is definitely an exciting experience.
It has since been noted by many that this was a blatant case of blackface and was therefore extremely offensive and disrespectful. In a now deleted tweet addressing the controversy in May 2020, Banks said, and I quote, "Been seeing the posts about the insensitivity of some past America's Next Top Model moments, and I agree with you. Looking back, those were some really off choices. I appreciate your honest feedback, and I am sending so much love and virtual hugs," end quote. And then this one, which pretty much triggered many people, was a week after learning that her best friend had died of an overdose, a contestant named Jael was told she would be modeling in a shoot with a death team.
Kaylin is not having too much fun. It's really messed up, but I just don't want to be here.
So, Johan, these are your 7 girls today. They're beautiful, right?
Well, they all look too alive.
Having trouble getting a good shot, was criticized for letting her feelings overwhelm her during the photo shoot.
Kaylin, you okay, honey? Do you know what's wrong with Kaylin?
She had a friend that just died from high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want you to even take all your nerves and take all of that and turn it into just like anger. Every bit of might in your body. I want to see it.
Like, they were mad at her for being overwhelmed with the shoot. Her best friend literally just died, and they were gonna have this girl do this whole photo shoot based on death. She was crying and losing it, and guess what they told her? Use this moment, you know, channel your whole anger and fear. It has been reported that models face some tough and borderline abusive regulations, and one of the most unpleasant accusations revealed that the contestants are at times completely banned from eating and from exiting their rooms. Gianna Turner reveals that she and her fellow model contestants were not permitted to eat and were completely restricted to their rooms. They weren't able to exit their rooms at all, and in fact, she claims security guards were posted outside of their doors to enforce these cruel regulations. Several contestants have spoken out about how they were made to film for 20 hours straight without breaks, and how they were not given any kind of sustenance or opportunity to voice their dissatisfaction with the conditions during that time. All of life's necessities were denied to them. Many of the models have compared their experience to that of being in prison.
Why did you choose the cowboy hat?
It's more on the simple side compared to the other hats.
You have this intensity to prove your sort of Africanness, and I think that sometimes it's overbearing. It's just too much. It's sort of a layer on top of a layer.
Just because we had to talk about, Afrocentricity before, and it's kind of
misunderstood.
I'm all about like expressing yourself and your culture, but it's still done in a fashion way. You want your outfit to be, look at me. And this outfit is, look over there.
Yaya takes a beautiful picture effortlessly. She's bringing something from inside. But the other thing that Yaya brings from inside that is so ugly is that superiority, condescending attitude. Yaya, this picture is stunning. I mean, this is amazing. But what's not amazing is your appearance. Think a little bit more glamour as opposed to natural.
Comment below what your thoughts was, but it seems like it wasn't that glamorous. But here's where I kind of, well, not defend her, have an alternative understanding of it, is that during those ages there was a lot of problematic things happening on TV. Not saying that because so many other people were being problematic that it excuses Tyra Banks' problematic behavior, but a lot of us watched these shows and saw nothing wrong with it. I was one who literally, like, this era you could really call the woke era, because everyone is now woken up to a lot of the things that were happening that was like, this shouldn't have happened. Even movies like The Notebook, we all ate it up, right? But then now as adults we watch it and we're like, oh, that was pretty toxic. And watching America's Next Top Model as a teen, I saw nothing wrong with it. I didn't, we just thought that's the industry, that's just how you have to be. And so did many adults who watched it with us. My adult aunt, who watched it with other adult friends, they saw nothing wrong with it either, until now, of course, with social media. And then you're now more aware and you see how toxic it is, and you kind of forgive yourself for the toxicity you exude and agreeing with some of these things. There's toxic things we did in our past growing up, toxic ways we used to talk, or ways we used to even dress or do our makeup, how to do it in a way that was stereotypical to certain people, right? And imagine if you become a celebrity and a middle school picture of you pops up wearing, appropriating, I guess, Asian culture, wearing certain things or whatever, when you were just a teen and you did not know, and it was just what was cool because on TV, on America's Next Top Model, you saw those models dress up like that, get in blackface, do these things. It was just, we didn't know better. And as a society, now that we all know better, we're holding people to a standard that even back then we wouldn't have fit either. Where, I don't know if you guys can understand what I'm saying, like, we still can hold Tyra accountable, while also understanding that during those times, she probably didn't even see where she was wrong. You know what I mean? And even as adults, there's the culture changes in society. There's a lot of things in society 100 years ago that culturally would not fly right now. But there's a lot of things that we do now in that society that would not fly. But people change, mentalities, ideologies, and understanding of things change. So I do like to give these celebrities grace when things are like from years ago, 20 plus years ago, or 10 years ago pop up that we're like, come on guys, the culture has changed so much. Let's give them some grace and kind of understand that, okay, we can kind of forgive Tyra a little bit, right? Don't throw rocks at me. I'm not like, a super Tyra fan. I'm really not. But I do kind of, I want to give her a little grace. And I think this whole cancel culture, exposure culture, revisiting things culture is good in the sense that we avoid problematic things in the future. I also do think we are a little bit OD with it, right? Now let's quickly get into this whole Naomi scam. As far as Naomi goes, I am doing a video on Naomi Campbell next, which will be updated, revised with some new things in there, okay? But the dispute started when Banks claimed Campbell, who she had formerly looked up to as a black woman seeking to get into the modeling business, had been unfriendly to her when she initially entered the field. And I quote, this is what Tyra said, "I got to Paris and it was very difficult," she told People in 2019. "I did really well, really fast, but then the industry was saying, oh, look out, Naomi Campbell, here comes Tyra Banks. So Naomi Campbell, sit your butt down." It wasn't fair to Naomi, but her response was, and she took a long pause, "To this day, I'm very scared of her," said Tyra Banks. "I was going home at night crying my eyes out because the woman I was looking up to seemed like she just didn't want me to be there," Banks told the Wall Street Journal in 2019, allegedly referring to Naomi, "and was doing everything in her power to make me go away," Banks added. During an episode of the Tyra Banks Show in 2005, Banks invited Campbell to resolve their issues.
I was tired of having to deal with you. I was tired of that pain. I was tired of the comparison.
In the confrontation on the Tyra Banks Show, Tyra accused Naomi of saying, "You'll never be me."
And we were doing that fashion show backstage, and you came up to me right when I was about to walk out, and you said something like, "You'll never be me. Don't ever think that you'll be me," and something like that.
I said that, and I'm not someone to go and give myself away and say that to anybody. I've never said that in my life.
So, but if that's what you remember, I accept that. But it's not, doesn't sound like me to people that would know me.
And I must say, before I continue, I'm going to take up for Naomi here a little bit, not discrediting what Tyra went to. Probably there was things behind the scenes, you never know. But Naomi pretty much got along with all the other models in the industry, was really, really close with them. And they didn't really have those things to say about her. Yes, she had her nature, but we're going to get into all of that in the video that I'm doing for her next. I don't know if Naomi would have said some of the stuff for real either. And a lot of people do see that because of what Tyra Banks did to Corinne Steffens, and don't worry, I'll be working on a video for Corinne Steffens in the future, but because of what she did to Corinne Steffens on her show, talk show, kind of like shamed her and brought her on the show because she almost had this vendetta against her because Corinne Steffens allegedly was a groupie with Tyra's man, and then she had her on there and shamed her and kind of like used her show to basically on a larger platform bully her.
But when she went public with her story as a hip-hop arm charm, she revealed a lot more than skin. The result was Confessions of a Video Vixen.
So do you think that you wrote this book because of revenge, out of revenge?
No, see, revenge is something that happens when people are miserable and upset and
But weren't
bitter.
you miserable and upset
Not when
and
I wrote
bitter?
this book. Not when I wrote this book.
Corinne, I
wrote
have
this
to
book
disagree with you. Why
proud
name names?
people.
If there's no anger, why name the names?
Why not? It's just the truth. A lot of women have unrealistic views of this part of the industry. You have a lot of young girls who want to, at a very early age, just be video girls, and they think that that's modeling. I have to explain that that's not modeling, and I've never been a model, and that's not what it is, and that's not how it happens. They're actually changing their minds about what they thought the industry was like. I wish that I had, people around me. I wish that I had a family base. A lot of women do have, and they have a family, and they have friends, and they have people who care, and they're educated better than I was. But many women and young girls aren't as educated as we should be. So I feel that people expect me to be ashamed. And all my life, I've been expected to be ashamed of who I am. And I'm not, and I think that it bothers a lot of people that I'm not ashamed.
I admire the fact that you're not ashamed. I think what bothers me is that I think you are a very smart woman, you're very articulate, and I think you do know exactly what you did. And I want you to be honest and sit here and be honest with me.
Well, you know what? I just wrote the book. I didn't hide names and places and dates to protect people. This isn't a book about protection. It's a book about honesty and confessions, both on my side and hopefully on theirs.
Corinne Steffens, thank you for being here, and thank you for being honest. You're dying inside, aren't you? I haven't been the hardest on you. I've seen your interviews, and there have been people that are super duper duper hard on you. This was actually a walk in the park.
Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it today.
People thought that that's what Tyra was doing to Naomi. Let me put you on my platform and kind of like expose you as this person, and was going in on her.
But don't you think some of the things are like blown up a little bit? When I would read the press, I'd be like, but this didn't happen. We didn't have a fight on the runway. It really was blown up out of proportion.
No, most definitely. It was definitely blown up and perpetuated. This photographer was called, or this magazine was called, and was telling to not use me.
But do you have proof that photographers were called? Do you have any proof?
I have some close people with big names that I definitely will not tell their names today because they kicked my butt.
Tyra wasn't talking to her like someone that was ever scared of her. And it felt like Tyra did overly speak about this and waited till 2019 to speak about it. I understand having a platform, but it was kind of like, I got you back. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. But then again, in defense of Tyra, if you were allegedly bullied by this mega superstar that you looked up to, say I look up to like Beyonce or something, always praising Beyonce, oh my goodness, Beyonce, and then I want to sing and I get in the industry and Beyonce is just cruel to me and tries to bring me down, and I'm this younger person who just like always was listening to her songs. If eventually I blow up and I have a bigger platform and things like that, and I get the opportunity to speak up, would you not speak up about how Beyonce treated you so cruelly behind the scenes? Like, hey guys, I know y'all love her and all, but she was a horrible person to me, okay? And if you had the opportunity to get her back on your show, me, I'm just not that petty. I wouldn't do it. I don't know. I'm just not that petty. I worked on myself too much over the years. But Karine probably 5 years ago or 2 years ago would have done that. So can we give Tyra some grace for that also? At the end of their chat on air, Banks remarked that it was a lovely day, now that she had at last found peace with Campbell. Despite being pitted against one another, Campbell said to Ellen in 2013 that the supermodels found common ground because of their similar experiences. Well, however, their dispute was reignited in 2016 when Campbell shared an article where she called Banks the real mean girl, end quote. The Things article concluded with, The woe is me Tyra narrative has definitely worn off. We don't want to reignite the rivalry, but at least now it makes sense why in their face-off, Naomi just sat there smiling, looking cold-hearted, dodging all the accusations Tyra made, end quote. It is unclear what prompted Campbell to share the article about Tyra, but Tyra Banks once endured an unpleasant lie detector test on her own talk show. The model flatantly denied being jealous of Oprah Winfrey, but the lie detector saw that she was lying. It was an embarrassing moment for her, and people even use that incident to be like, what makes us think that she's just not envious? Period. She did used to be a mean girl. And then, so what makes you think that? And I do think because Naomi Campbell went through it so much in the media because of her depression in the industry, being alone and stuff. Like I said, we're going to get into all of that. By the time Tyra came out in 2019, Naomi was already healing and already leaving that life behind her. You know what I mean? And so it was like Tyra brought that up and like reignited all of these bad press that came for her. Naomi almost would have seemed mean if she defended herself. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's like if someone bring out allegations where you were already seen as quote unquote a diva or a mean girl, and now you're denying it vehemently and doing all of that and defending yourself. Imagine if Naomi came, no, Tyra was the mean girl, da 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 da. People would have just came down Naomi Campbell's neck. So in a sense, she just had to, okay, whatever, and let it go. But now that the truth is being shown about Tyra, it's kind of like making everybody question, hey, Naomi now can kind of defend herself. And I hope Naomi can in the future speak about it, because Naomi did go and do a similar show to America's Next Top Model, and in it she was a lot nicer to the girls. She was actually very helpful and didn't have them do extreme makeovers and stuff like that. Like the toxic nature of America's Next Top Model was not present in that show. From what we can see, she was actually helpful. This is all I have to say about Tyra. She was a lot, and I love me some Tyra. I grew up on Tyra, but yeah, things lately have kind of okay, but let's give her some grace. I do believe that given a second chance, there's a lot of things she wouldn't do now, and everyone who's worked on the show that now want to speak out, past judges, etc. I'm like, listen, you didn't say nothing then. If you felt that uncomfortable, you should have quit. But the check was nice, okay? The check was nice, so you didn't say anything, and now it says dog pile on Tyra for clout. So I don't necessarily agree with that either. And it does seem like everyone is now dog piling on her all at once. It cheated in the past, or maybe it's just people are waking up, and we can have people we look up to in the industry while still holding them accountable and making sure certain things don't happen. If you like the music you're listening to in the background, the link is in the description. Support my brother. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend, and subscribe for the next video, which is Naomi Campbell. Tune in for that. Until next time, I love you guys.